Hey everybody, welcome back. Let's do a quick little episode and cover this viral video that's been all over the internet. Everyone's talking about it. Did Michael Knowles get cooked by an OnlyFans girl in a debate on the whatever podcast? You know, that podcast that's just been blowing up over the last probably year or so now. And they're known to bring on OnlyFans girls or feminists or, you know, the girls who have sugar daddies. And then they also bring on some conservative podcasters, Christian conservative podcasters as well. And then it's just meant to be a clash of the titans, so to speak. I mean, as it were. And this particular debate is between, I don't know, I've never heard of this girl before. I think her name is Khalid. She has an OnlyFans. Okay. Farha Khalidi seems to be her name. Anyway, she has an OnlyFans. And there's this one clip that's been circulating everywhere. I'm going to just go out on a limb here and say that the clip has been edited. It's certainly not a totally accurate depiction of the snippet of this conversation. So they've edited out certain pieces and they've kind of put together almost like a compilation of what they were talking about in this episode. But let's take a look at it because they start talking about the reason why so many wives are unhappy in marriages. That's the part that I'm particularly interested in. And then the conversation kind of switches to the private sector and why certain jobs are female dominated and why it's actually conservatives that are stopping men from getting jobs in certain industries. Anyway, let's expand here and let's see what the video is about.
There's a ton of marriages in which women are also working and then also shoring up a lion's share of the household duties. Yeah. And that's why they're unhappy, because now they're being burdened in two directions.
But so what's the solution to that?
Men shoring up more on domestic duties, but they won't because of freaking tradcons and neocons who are telling them that it's gay and beta if they do these certain tasks.
It is gay and beta most of the time. I agree.
And I also think that's why men are suffering. So for instance, like the unemployment rate of men returning back to the workforce is very, very high right now. And that's because feminists are kind of pushing for this like revanchist return to just like older times. And even though you claim you're not trying to turn the clock back, a lot of the solutions that feminists are advocating for just won't help men, because the burgeoning sectors right now are overly feminized. It's stuff like nursing, childcare, hospitality. And these industries are actually reaching out to men and they're trying to recruit them, but a lot of men will turn them down. And instead they're sitting on their ass, they're addicted to opiates. Like over half of unemployed men are addicted to some sort of painkiller. They're playing video games all day. They're to porn, which is yes, one problem, but there's so many others. And feminism is was telling men, like, leave your toxic masculinity behind, join a nursing career, join a teaching career, but they won't do it because of tradcons and neocons telling them that they're gay and beta if they do these kind of like unwarrior-like positions.
But I do think that it's not just a matter of social construction. I think women are more nurturing.
The nursing programs and teaching programs have like put out research of why men won't join these industries despite them reaching out. And one of the biggest reasons is because they feel like it's overly feminine. Do you think that's due to liberal feminism or due to conservatism?
No, I think it's just natural. I think the men should work, but they should maybe do things that they're more inclined to do. I don't think we need to conscript men to go become nurses wearing frilly little dresses.
And why do you see that as putting on a frilly dress to go into like nursing and hospitality?
Because you're using that example.
You're presupposing that it's feminine and gay. You're doing the thing.
It is more feminine, yeah.
And everyone's talking about, oh man, he got owned by an OnlyFans girl. First of all, I have to say that Michael Knowles is probably the only... Okay, I don't watch this show in full. I honestly just see the show in clips. But from what I've seen, Michael Knowles is really the only like effective Christian conservative male that goes on a show like whatever and is very respectful and very kind and positive. I mean, that's Michael's whole sort of, that's his demeanor. That's how he really is. And he's not afraid to... He's not afraid to speak his values and also be like, you're living the wrong life. It's a porn star. But he's also very respectful when he does it. And I think it's a very, very rare to see that in Christian conservative male content creators today. I just think there's a lot of outrage content and you get a lot more views and you get a lot more attention and likes and engagement and followers if you're just crass and rude. But I think Michael does a really, really nice job of still being respectful, but being very, very clear about what the right values are and what is moral and what is not. He's like that in person too. He's honestly just one of the nicest guys. I filmed content with him probably a couple of years ago now, a few years ago. I think I was pregnant at the time with my first, and he's just such a nice guy all around. So what happened in this clip here? Did Michael Knowles get owned? So let's talk about the very first part of the clip, which, like I said earlier, interests me. She says that Women are extremely unhappy at home because they have to work just like their husbands do. However, at the same time, they are doing more household duties than the man is. So they think this is unfair. And he asks her, he says, what's the solution to this in your opinion? She says the solution is for men to do more household duties, but they won't do that because conservatives, tradcons and neocons have told men that it's feminine and beta and gay to do household chores. So her solution for the unhappiness of wives is for men to show up and do more chores. This is where I think we're just asking the completely wrong question. So you see a lot of conservatives talk about this too, and they say, oh, they shouldn't do more household chores. Women should do all the household chores. Women should do more household chores because then the men would be more happy and the women would be more happy because they're in their rightful place. So it always comes down, I see always this conversation about household chores. Women should do less, men should do more. I think we're asking the wrong question. I don't think we should be asking who should be doing what chores around the house, because being upset about the division of household chores is just a symptom of the root cause of the problem. It's like if you're going to divvy up household chores around the home, you're just trying to fix a symptom, which is what the Western medical culture does, is they're like, oh, let me just treat this one symptom. Let me just treat your headaches instead of getting to the root cause. The root cause here is that men and women in many marriages in today's society are deeply unhappy because they are unfulfilled and because they do not have a shared vision. They are not aligned in their purpose and in their higher meaning of their marriage. Because household chores, I am no purist when it comes to household chores. I think that naturally women will tend to take up more household chores naturally because we're nesters. We care more about the environment of our home. So I think naturally that's going to happen. I don't think that it's wrong for men to contribute at home. I don't think that it needs to be, I definitely don't think it should be like, here's 50-50. We need to divide everything up. If you do that at home, that's not, okay, fine. You can do that. I don't think it's necessary to do that. I'm just not a purist when it comes to household chores. You know, and I say this as somebody who does like the vast majority of household chores in my home, but like if my husband's home on the weekend, like he'll help empty the dishwasher or whatever. But, you know, for the most part, he's out of the house like from 5:30 a.m. until like 6 at night. So I'm the one doing everything in the kitchen and I clean up at night. And even so, I'm not a purist when it comes to household duties. I think that we're just, again, asking the wrong question. You have a lot of these women, these wives who are unhappy, not because they have to do household chores. These women aren't unhappy because they have to do more laundry and they're doing the dishes. They're unhappy because they're feeling incredibly unfulfilled in the roles that they have taken on in their marriage. They're unhappy because they feel unappreciated, because they feel like they're not doing what they're actually meant to do with their lives. And that's for both, I think, men and women, because men have been seriously, is demasculinized the word? I don't know. Emasculated, that's the word. The men have been emasculated. And so I think men are simultaneously, even if they're not doing so many household chores, I think many of the men and husbands in our country also feel emasculated, feel like they're not really fulfilling their true purpose, their true role. And sometimes these feelings are not able to be articulated. They're sort of subconscious. But I think a lot of these men and women in marriages are just so unhappy with the way that their lives have panned out, and they don't have a shared vision of what the purpose of their marriage is. Because if you are aligned in your higher meaning of your marriage, it is not going to matter if one person vacuums more than the other. Like, it's just anyone who is married out there, especially if you've been married for a long time and you've gone through some deep troubles in your marriage and you've been through a lot. You know that, like, who's going to do the dishes and who's going to take out the trash and who's going to do the laundry. These are such minor details of a marriage. When you have a shared vision and you know what your purpose is as a man and a woman who come together as one in your union, in your marriage, the problem is not household duties. So all these women that she's talking about who say that they're really upset because the husband's not... the husband isn't putting in his share of household chores. The problem is not going to be fixed if your husband suddenly picks up a vacuum and starts cleaning more. In fact, there's some research showing that men who do more household chores around the house appear less attractive to their wives. I mean, I don't know if we really need studies to even like prove that or disprove that. But I mean, you can make an argument for either way is what I'm saying. These women are not going to be happy if the husband suddenly starts cleaning more. That's not going to solve your problems. So that's why I think this sort of feminist approach of equality, if we just make equal chores, if we just divide the labor equally, we will be happy, we will be fulfilled. No, you will not, because your deep unhappiness comes from somewhere much greater than who is doing the laundry. And I think, honestly, a lot of women deep down are very torn about the fact that they're trying to juggle these massive careers while trying to manage a home, trying to be a mother, trying to juggle this career at the same time. That is deeply unsettling. It's very hard. And I think that is honestly many times the root cause of women's unhappiness and unfulfillment. I'm not saying, if you've watched my show before, you know I'm not someone who says women should never ever work. Obviously, when you have young children, your children should be your priority. But like I know plenty of women who are able to work a little bit on the side and still maintain interests, like professional interests, whatever. I'm not saying that you should never ever work. I'm just saying that if you are committed to this massive career and climbing the corporate ladder when you have young children or are managing a home full of people, that's going to make you feel very torn. It's going to eat away your soul because you just feel like you don't really know which one you're supposed to put most of your focus into. And so it's not going to change the way that you feel if your husband picks up a duster and does your laundry for you. No, that's not going to change anything. Again, it's a symptom of what the root cause is. And then they get into the reason why men are staying home and not working because they don't want to go into supposedly feminized industries. And she names nursing, hospitality, I think service jobs. And she says that, this is the line that really just kind of cracked me up. She was like, this is what feminists have always been saying. She said, feminists have always told men to put away their toxic masculinity and go get a nursing job. That's not what feminists have been saying for the last several decades. No, not at all. That's not what feminists have wanted for men, to put aside their toxic masculinity so that they could become nurses and get jobs in these female dominated industries. And I think that Michael brings up a good point. He says, I think that we should absolutely encourage men to work, but why are we trying to force them into these industries that they genuinely don't have an interest in? Okay. And it's not because of liberal feminism or conservatism that these men aren't interested in jobs like nursing, or let's talk about other female dominated industries, early childhood education, psychology, counseling, psychiatry, things like religious studies, a lot of these liberal arts degrees that are very highly dominated by females. Why do you think they're dominated by females? Just like, why do you think that the fields of engineering or finance are dominated by men? Do you think this is some sort of social construct? They really believe that it's a social construct. If it is a social construct for these jobs to be dominated by men, why aren't jobs like on the oil rig? Why aren't feminists advocating for more women to go work on the oil rigs, to work these dangerous jobs? Why aren't feminists advocating for women to go work in the garbage industry, the trash pickup industry? It's so dishonest. It's not about social constructs. It's the fact that men and women have general personality differences. And yes, far fewer men are interested in nursing. It doesn't mean that men shouldn't become nurses if they have an interest. If they want to, that's fine. I mean, I don't think I've ever known a male nurse, but there were people in the comment section. They were like, yeah, I have my cousin. He's been an ER nurse for a long time. It's not a very feminine job. Yeah, I'm sure. And that's fine, especially if you're going to do like trauma nursing. But the whole point is that it's not some sort of social construct. And then she goes on to claim that men are sitting at home addicted to opiates and weed and porn because they refuse to go in and join jobs like service industry and hospitality and nursing. Yeah, no, this is a complete misunderstanding or a willful ignorance of the fact that many of these sort of even lower income, middle class jobs that are geared towards men. A lot of like hard labor jobs, construction jobs. A lot of these jobs have either been taken away from men or they have been waged out because of mass immigration, both legal and illegal mass immigration. Because who do you think is coming across the border? Like most of them are men. Yeah, they of course there are women and children coming across the border too, but most of them, if you look at any of the videos, any of the footage, like that's all dudes just coming over. Just like in the UK, when you see all the migrants that are coming over from these other countries in the UK, like they're all men. And so you have all these guys, illegal and legal immigrants who are coming into the country. They're driving down wages. They're taking away jobs, especially in the lower income, lower middle class jobs, hard labor, construction jobs. They're taking all these jobs away because they're willing to get paid peanuts to do it. And you have a lot of these men that are not able to find jobs as easy as they once were. And then a lot of these manufacturing jobs are being sent overseas. So a lot of times these men aren't sitting at home twiddling their thumbs because they don't want to go be nurses. It's because the jobs that they want to do and that they were designed to do and they were good at doing have been taken away from them. So this whole clip here, it misses the mark. It does not get to the root cause of what's really happening here. And yeah, Michael made a comment. He was like, oh yeah, we shouldn't conscript men to go into nursing and wear frilly little dresses. He was making a joke. He was joking and people are like, oh, look, a Christian conservative who only bases his view of nursing on porn. It's like he was obviously making a joke. So did he get cooked by an OnlyFans girl? No, I think that the edit of this clip, certainly may have like favored her, made her look like she won the debate. But there's a lot of things here that just don't make any sense. And we're looking at it the wrong way. And this is why I think so many marriages, back to the marriage point, so many marriages are failing in the United States because we're looking at the wrong thing. We're asking the wrong questions. It's not going to help if your husband cleans more. It's not going to help if you feel like your husband is going to emotionally support you better. A lot of the times it comes from this very deep unfulfillment that a lot of modern Americans have. Mostly, number one, because they have rejected Christ from their lives, and the decline of religious life in this country has led to much unhappiness and a lot of isolation and loneliness. But and mostly because now the entire point of everyone's life is to be their own God. That's it. I'm going to be my own God. Because remember, you only have two choices. You either follow God or you pretend like you're your own God. And the latter is what most people are doing. And a lot of these modern marriages are failing not because the household chores are uneven. There's always something in the marriage that's going to be uneven. Always. And this whole idea of equality, 50-50, there's no such thing as 50-50 in a marriage. Sometimes it's 85-15. Sometimes it's 99-1. Sometimes it's 40-60. It always depends on what the context is, what's going on. Between the two of you in your marriage, maybe one person is unwell, one person is doing great. There will always be something in your marriage that's not equally 50-50. And equality, even if it were 50-50, that's not going to make you happy. It's not going to make you fulfilled. You have to find your fulfillment. And I think a lot of these wives have to really ask themselves, do I have a shared vision? Do I have a shared purpose with my husband? And if I do, what is it? And what can we do together to reach that shared vision and that shared purpose? And I think if we start asking that question in marriages, people are going to be a lot happier and they're going to stop worrying about who's doing the laundry and who's loading the dirty dishwasher. That's it. Okay. See you next time. Bye.